Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Crew Car, where I'm joined by Deborah Fry from Yacht Trace. Morning, Deborah. How are we doing?
Fine, thank you. And you?
Yeah, good. Not too bad, thanks. I'm sat in a car park waiting for my son's rugby match. So, I mean, the amount of time I spend in car parks, I need to be careful. End up in sort of some dogging list or something like that. You never know with these things. Um, yeah, so Deborah, just tell us a little bit about yourself and Yacht Trace and what you're trying to do within the industry.
Yeah. So Yacht Trace, we do a tender monitoring system. So we work very closely with insurers and underwriters who want to reduce really risk of loss with tenders. So tenders and chase boats are getting bigger nowadays. They're towing, it's more frequent to tow. So we have a dedicated link between the mothership and the tender, and we measure the vital systems such as bilge, battery, pitch roll, those kind of things, and the geofence, the distance between the two while it's moving. Very clever little system, and basically protects against loss. So when they're towing, rather than AIS or a tracker, the full monitoring system will basically tell you a problem in real time before it becomes major, so you can do something about it.
That's amazing. Yeah. So all the systems are relayed as well. So not just because we've had in the past, as you've rightly said, now more and more yachts, and sensibly so, have chase boats as tenders, large limo tenders, etc. Because it makes way more sense when you're chartering, 40 plus meters and then you're all dressed up nicely you're on anchor and then you're running in ashore. You don't want to get in a little sort of rubber duck, get soaking wet in your outfit. So more and more boats we tow. We have an Axopar 38. We tow it, and we are not on this boat, but previously we towed a Cobra and we went through really bad weather. We lost it off Ibiza under tow, but luckily we managed to retrieve it. But yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer really from insurance perspective, as well as, for your day-to-day running, you need your tender. You don't want to lose it sort of underway on passage. But how did that? I mean, what's your history? Where did you come from? How did you find yourself in the wonderful industry that is yachting?
Well, I mean, I was an art teacher for many years, head of art. I'm still kind of in that world as well as a moderator for the exam board, and I do private tuition. But I met Dr. Dan Rogers, my partner, and at the time he was stabilising another product in the industry. And so basically, part-time I helped him, and then we decided to start our own company just over a year ago.
Nice. And how's it all going in terms of that? Is the uptake good? Are people seeing the value in what you're offering?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, insurers and underwriters, definitely. The captains that we see, definitely, as well. There's still old information about and miscommunication, I think, where people say, oh, just have an AIS or just have a tracker. But of course, they don't really tell you if your bilge is filling with water or the battery's not working or that dynamic geofence between the two. So there's a few bottlenecks there, but it's doing well, and we're self-funding, which is really important to me, and it's going really well. So we're really pleased.
In terms of how the system works, because like you say, normally when you're towing underway, you'll have your nav lights on. So you obviously your battery systems are sort of potentially an issue if you're going long distances. We've previously gone down to Turkey and which is about a 7-day passage if weather's good, from the south of France. For things like that, where obviously battery power is paramount to be able to have the essential equipment, how does it work? How does it feed off systems?
Yeah, definitely. So our system in particular is no more powerful than a mobile phone. So it's very, very little draw. So you can basically keep it running. And that's the beauty of the system, really. It becomes an anti-theft system as well, because the tender side, which fits in a small pelly, is hidden. So all the antenna, the GPS, the Iridium backup is all in there. And it doesn't really create a big draw at all, which is great. So as long as you use the tender every 2 weeks, it should be fine.
Well, okay, that's amazing. And how does all these systems? because obviously, like you say, you've got bilge alarms, batteries, all that. How does it plug in? Is it quite simple? Is this something that you have to get you guys to come down to fit, or is this like speak to you, find out what size boat, what make the engines are, all that kind of stuff, and then you tailor it and send it down, and then it's easy for an engineer to fit? I mean, how does it work?
Yeah, it's a really valid question. So before, when we were with a different company, it was more complex. So we decided that when we were starting from scratch, we'll make it very simple. So it's not hardwired on either side.
Okay.
So basically, an engineer, a captain such as yourself, anybody could fit it probably within an hour on the tender.
Wow. Okay.
So all you need to do is find 12-volt or 24-volt power, hide it under the seat, and then your actual bilge sensors are wireless, battery controlled.
Wow, okay. Awesome. Amazing. And this all relays to what? A phone, or how do you see where it is and what it's up to? Or
Yeah. So we have an RF link between that and the mothership side, which is a Peli case as well, which literally just plugs in. So the information goes between the two. So the beauty of the system and why the insurers like it is because it's radio. You don't have to worry about internet or cellular, so it will work anywhere. We have Iridium as backup if it completely goes missing. If somebody steals your tender, we can locate it as well. So we have to make sure that it's very reliable, basically.
yeah, I mean, in this industry, it's not necessarily about cost. It's about how well the product works, and as you've rightly stipulated, is it reliable? Because the last thing you want to be is like, oh, well, tender's saying it's come loose, it's not with us anymore, and you start panicking about things when you can see out the window that it's right there behind you. So that reliability is such a key factor for yachting, and that's amazing that you've got that. And how does it come in
And it will
terms of
allow.
sorry, no, you go ahead.
So it allows night towing, really. So a lot of the insurers that you can tow at night with it.
Yeah. But I mean, I mean, night is the key point, obviously, because when you're underway for long passages, you're going to be going through the night on a regular occurrence. And so, as a product, how does it sort of financially, because of the dirty word of cost for these things, is it scaled depending on what size vessel, or how big the tender is? How does it work?
Yeah, so I mean, you mentioned like there's no cost on losing your tender, and that's really good. But from experience with the last company that we were working with, for some reason, captains maybe, yacht managers, owners maybe, they don't want to pay the money for the protection, even though it's so important. It depends on probably the price of the tender. So we've really made a conscious effort to keep the price down, particularly as the insurers that are recommending us. We don't want to then, take the mickey and think, well, they're recommending us, let's bump the price up. We don't want to do that. So currently it's 7,300 without any install costs. So we're trying to really keep it down.
I was going to say,
regardless of what tender you've got, but we wanted to. Yeah, it's a bit of a delay here. Sorry about this.
Apologies. No, it's me probably. But yeah, I mean, 7,300.
It's a delay. Yeah,
is nothing really in the grand scheme of things. When you've got tenders nowadays, even the tiniest kind of Nova Uranias that go into the back of the yacht, you're talking easily £250,000 for something that's not even a chase boat that you're not towing. So when you start moving into the realms of Axopar, I know our Axo was about fully spec'd, which still is very cheap compared to other tenders, but it was like 350,000. So as a percentage, 7%, 7,300. You're talking about 2% of the value of the yacht to make sure that it's safe. I mean, that's from my perspective as a captain, it's a no-brainer. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And
I look
how
forward
many?
To your sale, James.
Yeah, definitely. Well, 100%. You joke, but I'd definitely be interested in talking to you about it because we have a system. My first officer deals with that side of it. So in terms of what system we have currently, because we do have a tracker much like you, but we don't have a relay of information in terms of bilge alarms and stuff like that, because I mean that's integral. That helps you if you know that your boat is actually, it may not be disconnected, but it might be sinking behind you and you don't know about it, because if it hits something in the sea and you have no idea.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean that's amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you, where are you at in
Yeah,
terms of
and the
your?
sustainable side as well.
Yeah, I mean, but where are you at in terms of how many yachts have taken it on board for their tenders? I mean, is the uptake been good?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the sustainable side as well, because it's not hardwired in, you can actually take it to your next tender, and you don't have to cut into the bridge on the mothership side. So it can be transportable. So it's
Wow,
kind of
okay.
sustainable tech and it'll last longer. Uptake wise, we've made back our development costs within the first 6 to 7 months. So we're doing really well. We don't really like to talk about figures, but
No.
we're in profit stage, which is in just under a year is pretty good for a business.
That's amazing. I mean, yeah, which is obviously just
Mm,
signifies what a good product you have. Yeah, I mean that's awesome. I was surprised.
definitely.
Have you met much resistance to what you're doing?
Even price wise, people still grumble, but it's the miscommunication is the problem. So there's been this kind of tracker word that's been going around for many, many years, even with insurers and brokers and yacht
Sorry.
managers, and they just kind of repeat that word and they'll say, it's okay, I've got a tracker. But it's just getting that education out there that the tracker's not going to tell you if the bilge is filling or the
Yeah.
battery's dead or what that distance between the two changes with a tow line breakage. So that's the main resistance. We've had a lot of captains really, really happy with the price, which I'm really pleased about.
Yeah, I mean it is a great price.
So it's just a misinformation, really. Yeah.
I
And I
think
spoke
that's
to you last week about the role of a yacht
yeah. Well, I think that's right. I think that a lot of yachting can be put down to miscommunication, and it is an education, and that's something that in the 21 years that I've been in the industry, like I've been waiting for someone to come along and fix these problems for us, because I think inherently you do find yourself going, someone must be able to see everything I can see and will fix it. And you imagine that someone will come along,
Yeah.
and it just hasn't happened, which is why, we've started the
Yeah.
platform that I've started, because it does come down to education. Lots of people come into yachting there, and it's an amazing industry 90% of the time. But there, unfortunately, is that 10%. But unless you educate people as to what should be the standards and how things should be run and how you should be treated, then people don't know any different, and they just go, "Well, this must be how it is for everyone," and it's not the case. And I think, like you within the industry, sort of part that you are in, a lot of people don't understand. And like you said, they use the word a tracker. Okay, well, it's all right. We've got our tender tracks. It's like, that's great. But how do you know if your tender's hit something, is taking on water? You don't. And that added benefit of that, it pays for itself
Yeah.
in no time flat. I wonder if you got number. Do you know how many people are losing? I mean, the insurance company must be able to relay to you how many tenders they have that go awry every year, either through theft or sinking or countless other issues. Do you know how many it is that have been reported?
Um, the only fact I've heard recently was that around 200 tenders were lost in the Mediterranean last year.
Any resistance that you've found within the yachting industry to the product that you guys are pushing?
Yeah, it's a funny industry, really, because sometimes it's who you know. It's not that transparent, as you're aware. There's been a bottleneck with marketing, maybe advertising a little bit. It's a minefield, and unless you've got thousands and thousands of pounds to spend, it's difficult. Yacht manager wise, that we spoke about the other day, there's some fantastic yacht managers around that will advise to the captains, yourself, and send information to the yachts. And then there's some yacht managers that will be basically say, well, no, we've got what we need, we're not going to forward it, and so that information never gets to the captain.
Yeah.
Insurance wise, even though they advise our product, a lot of them don't like to use the logo. It's just part of their company policies.
Right, okay.
And often, sometimes they'll stipulate an advanced tow protection system or an advanced monitoring system.
Yeah.
To that house. But we've got quite a few insurers behind us and underwriters now who are specifically naming our product, which is great. So that's really
amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the problem. I think it happens quite a lot in yachting, from what I see and hear, is that people tend to have, especially some management companies, rather than allowing the new tech in or new products, they have their preferred suppliers or whatever they have across their fleet, and it's not necessarily the best product for what they want, but it's just easier because they've already got it.
Yeah.
And it's a bit closed off. I think, as you said, the word sort of transparency. This is why I'm creating this platform, YWC, for exactly this reason. I think accountability and transparency only enhances and elevates any industry, because when you go to a restaurant, you have a bad meal, you have the ability to review that and say, I went to this restaurant, the service was really poor. And from a business perspective, it's really important that you have that channel, because if you're not doing well, if Yacht Trace wasn't doing well, you have to, and you don't know because you're not getting any feedback. Well, it's too expensive, or there's actually better products out there. At least you're aware of like, okay, well, we have to go back to the drawing board. We have to make it smaller, or, it's too obvious and people can see it, or whatever it is. But without that feedback channel, you don't know, and you're kind of left in the dark. And I think it's all of this that are important points to raise, so that we as an industry can get better as a whole. I mean, there has to be accountability. At the moment, on the whole, the only thing is charter yachts. Obviously, you tend to know. Sorry about that. You tend to know about the crew and what kind of yacht it is, what the chef's like, what the captain's like. And good charter yachts are, have a great crew, have an amazing environment on board, because you walk in there as a paying guest, and you can feel it. When a crew's happy. When you walk into a restaurant. When you go into a hotel, and the people who work there are happy to be there.
Yeah.
And because you feel that, and I think as an industry, if we want to get better as an industry, we have to create accountability across all parts of the industry: crew, management, suppliers, contractors, all of this, because then we can go, well, these guys are doing amazing jobs. I mean, I've been into shipyards over the years where only when I'm in that yard, all the other people in that yard are going, oh no, it's dreadful here. It's horrendous. We can't get this. We never get that. We get charged more for that. They're running behind. And it's like, if I'd known this prior to coming here, then I could have made that informed decision. And I think it's really important. And then obviously these yards, these contractors, management companies, bad crew, they keep continuing within the industry, which brings the industry down. So I think when we create that transparency and that accountability, it can only elevate the industry that we work in, and products like you have. So yeah, I think what we're trying to do within YWC is people like yourself being able to put a review out there and say, look, this is our product.
Yeah.
We'd love some feedback. What do you like about it? What do you think might be a problem with it? All this can only make your product and our industry better.
Definitely.
And I think it's really important, and it's a really good point that you raised. But it's just about how we do it, and unifying, from my perspective, getting all crew in one place. Because, like you say, from a marketing perspective, it's costly. It's really expensive. And also, where do you market? It's up to you to be led, kind of like, well, we have a reach of this within this magazine or whatever. Whereas, to be honest, the people that make the decisions in yachting are us. We're crew. Like, we know, regardless of someone saying this is an amazing product, this is the best thing since sliced bread, when you're actually functionally using it, you can then give a proper review and be like, no, it was dreadful. You know, the signal went and it kept on dropping out, or the alarm kept on going off to say that the boat was no longer within the geofence,
Yeah.
which kept on waking up people that were on their rest, and this needs to. But then that's
Yeah.
also important for whoever's supplying that to know that these issues happen, rather
Definitely.
than just like, it's rubbish, let's bin it.
Yeah.
That feedback is integral to growing your business and, you know, supporting the industry as a whole. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Well,
really valid
listening is
point.
a skill, and to develop a product properly, you have to listen probably more than you just put something out there.
Yeah.
And we're in the middle ground, really. We're in between the insurers, and we're in between the captains and the engineers and the chief officers, and we've got to make everybody happy, really. And
Yeah.
yeah, and
Well,
then
it's
of
the
course,
age-old thing. They say you've got two of these, one of these. Use them in that proportion, and
yeah,
it is important.
definitely,
But yeah, from what I've spoken to you about, and in terms of what you said your product does, I mean, I would assume that the uptake would be significant, because that ability to know everything that's going on in that boat, not just know that it's near you
yeah,
and that it hasn't disconnected or it's not drifting away or it hasn't turned over, is so important. And just that peace of mind for essentially, you know, 1 year, there's 700 euros a month and it's paid for itself.
yeah,
Now,
definitely.
in yachting, where waste is large, to be honest, and money gets wasted, that to me doesn't seem like a significant outlay for something with that ability to give you that peace of mind. So
No, definitely. And I just hope that the information is getting to captains. I think for some management companies out there that don't want to, um, you know, put that information forward to the yachts, are they missing out on knowing about a product that's potentially going to save loss, save a charter, save their reputation?
well, this is
Um,
it. And it is, like you said, so in terms of the chase boat and other such things like that, like you have a wire chase boat, they're in the millions, you know, for
yeah,
a 50, 60-foot tender, you're
yeah,
talking millions of euros. So it's a significant investment in terms of the yacht. For 7,000 euros for a piece of equipment that can make sure that you know everything that's going on, it's it's a no-brainer, really is. And yeah, and like I say, from my perspective, for products like this and the platform that we're launching, it's these kind of things that we want, that you put it out there as a litmus test and say, look, this is what we've got. We'd love your feedback. You know, we'd love you to try it, all these kind of things, so
yeah,
that you can get real-time reviews. You know, we were talking to shipyards as well who have yachts in build, and it's that kind of ability to go, we're thinking of creating the crew mess on this new 60 meter, 70, 40, whatever it is. We'd love some feedback from you guys as to what you'd like in that crew mess. Does it work as it is? You know, because a lot of times you can go into spaces and find, like, why have they put the dishwasher there and that over there? And it's just getting feedback from the people that actually do it on a day-to-day basis is
yeah,
so important, because by making it easier for crew, like, they'll use it more. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
it's all that system, and what you're offering, from my understanding, is yeah, will be a huge benefit to this industry.
Yeah, it is about listening. I sometimes think, coming in to this as an outsider, I've been in the industry probably about just under 3 years now. When you were saying about the crew area, I'm going to a lot of yachts now, where the crew area is so tiny, and it doesn't work really, and it's not good for them. So it's a really, yeah, it's an unusual industry, I'd say that. Coming from probably an industry where I was there to help people, to an industry which is a bit more frivolous and about money often. Very, very different, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we
this
see.
is the thing. It's an industry. There are some amazing owners and some amazing management companies that really do think about crew welfare. And then there are some that really don't. And, you know, that idea, like you said, about crew messes being tiny, it's like, when you think about spaces and when things are designed, very rarely is there a crew member present at that stage that's going, oh, well, hang on a minute. That's tiny. Like, bear in mind that we eat, sleep, and breathe in this space for months and months at a time. Like, would you want to live in that? And like, when you kind of flip it back to them and go, well, would you be happy with that?
Yeah.
But that channel is very rarely open. That door's very rarely open. And it's just like, this is how it was designed. And by the time you get on board the boat, it's already been decided. Like, that's that size cabin. That's how those bunks are going to be. That's where that dishwasher's going. That's where the plumbing. And it's like, well, if you just allowed us into the process earlier, then the functionality of it would be infinitely better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all of this is so important.
Yeah, it's no wonder there's high turnover of staff, definitely. And that's another consideration for us, because we're building tech where we've sold to one boat and then the next week the whole crew's changed. So, and they've come in thinking, what on earth's this? Is it, so from Doctor Who? So we have to make
such a valid point, though. And also, people come on board yachts and they're like, I don't like that. I've always used this. And then they go and buy that. So the wastage side of it, rather than the education, and we're all guilty of it, of using what we know because we're comfortable.
Yes.
But giving that exposure and saying, in terms of what the product is, is just so important to be able to give exposure to this kind of tech. And the proof will be in the pudding, because if your product is as good as it said, then it will go far. And if not, it'll be back to the drawing board and everything else. So
it's funny with tech companies, because there's two routes when you start a product. There's our route that we're doing, which is very rare, where it's self-funding, and you go very steady, really. So we started really in the med, so that if there are any issues or problems, we can get a cheap flight out there, go and see the captain, swap it over, work with them, have a look at it. We don't have a £30 million yacht to practice on. It's that you start slowly, and we're slowly building up, which is great. Or there's the other route, and you go down the funding route, and you get given a lot of money, but then you get told how to spend it, and then you get told what to do with your product, and then you end up, you're not even in charge of your own business.
Well, you're preaching to the converted here, but preaching to the choir, because I'm self-funded in terms of my platform, and it's exactly that. I've waited long enough for someone else to fix it, because I thought someone would, and no one has. So it's now down to us as crew to take care of our own livelihoods, because we're the commodity within this, like, in terms of crew. Without crew, nothing works. You can remove other aspects of the industry and the industry will still flow. Not as efficiently, but it will still work. You remove crew and nothing works. So it's about time that we valued that, and we set the precedent for our own careers. And we were like, well, hang on a minute. That's not how we'd like this system to work. That's not the terms that we'd like. And then we have some real power. But the only reason that we'll have power is if we unify, because, as I say over and over again, if you want to beat someone in a war, you divide them. And that's it. You see it in the media all the time. They start everything with what's going on in the UK and everything. The way that they keep people is keeping them separate. But as crew, if we come together and we unify, and we kind of then can review products like yourself and what shipyards might be doing and all that, and by doing that, we elevate it through that transparency and accountability.
Yeah, divide and conquer. I've seen it many a time in different industries.
Yeah, well, it is, and it tends to be the people with money just quash and squeeze out the people who don't, and therefore quite a lot of lost great potential never reaches the people it should, because it's been ousted by the powers that be. So
and this is why your platform's good, because at the end of the day, unless everybody gets together, you can't do anything. So, for instance, if this doesn't happen, if you complain to the owner of your yacht one day, he'll think, well, I'll just get another James then. There's plenty out. But if everybody, the other Jameses, if everyone around there thinks, no, we want these standards, you're not going to have that from us, then it will change, hopefully. But
this is it. And it's not going to happen overnight. But the idea is that it just becomes a format that when you join yachting, you do your STCW, you join the platform, you have guidance on your career, your training, your financial, because the amount of people on all these aspects that really have no real idea, and they can be earning as a young lad good money, and they're not putting it away, they're not investing in their futures, they're not thinking about their career path and all this aspect. And it all comes back to the same thing, like we talked about, education. All you can do is you've got the tools there. Whether you decide to use them is up to you. Because I mean, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And that's fine. But then you don't have people going, well, I didn't know that. And it's like, well, you did, because it's right there.
Yeah.
And I think from business perspective, like yourselves as well, the wastage for marketing is minimal, because you go, these are the people that are going to use our product. That's our target market. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do, and elevate the industry and create amazing products like what you're offering, and get them out so that people can start using and helping the industry.
Well, even your LinkedIn posts have been really helpful for me, because, again, to develop a product, you need to understand the daily life of crew. And if ever you want to invite me on board for a week, I'd love to come. Just to see, really
bring deep pockets.
I want a bigger bedroom, though, I'm telling you.
That's good. Perfect. Yeah, exactly. What, from a crew cabin? We'll get you in a bunk. It'll be on the deal.
But I mean, that's been an eye-opener, because for me to really understand the time pressure. I mean, I suppose there is a crossover with teaching. I've met many crew that have been teachers, actually, and then gone on to be crew. And a similarity, you're in a high-pressure environment. You've got the kids are the customers, or the owners. You've got to answer every question, help them, spin a few plates. In the background, you're getting all this work done, making sure everything else is done. Extremely long hours. You've got parents' evenings, parents on the phone, and you've got to do this. Then you called out to the playground. It's like, wow. And it's just, I understand it from that perspective. It is 24/7 craziness, and the only break you get is when you go to sleep.
Which might not be as long as you hoped.
No, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and it is that awareness of that is really, really, really high pressure, long hours, and it's graft, but it's incredibly rewarding if it's done right.
Yeah.
And all we're trying to do is get that support system for crew, so that they do feel like if something goes wrong, they're not on their own. And this is often the way that you tend to be like, well, you made a mistake, you did that, you're out. Or, all these kind of situations that should be avoided. We're human beings. We, by nature, make mistakes.
Yeah.
But the joy is we need to learn from them. If you keep making the same mistake, that's very different. But if you make it and you learn from it, then that's the way it should be, really.
Definitely. You know what I think you should do as well? I think you should do a little podcast also called Above Deck, and like a day in the life, and just show a few snippets of real life. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, well, I mean, and show what real life is. That's the thing. When the whole Below Deck thing came out, which to me as a show is purely just reality, but not anywhere near reality. It just sort of highlights, it makes it look ridiculous, really, that everyone's making mega money, that they're just getting drunk, they're doing this, that, and the other. And it's like, you couldn't be further from the truth of what the reality of yachting is.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't make such good viewing, if you didn't have this, and that's it. It's all scripted. But there we go. Such is life.
Yeah.
But Deborah, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure talking with you. And look forward to revisiting this again when we elevate everything and more people within the industry are using a product, myself included. And are
you back on the yacht then, spring, summertime?
Yeah, no, I'm back. It's just at the moment my father-in-law passed away a couple of weeks ago, so I'm back home just on leave, looking after kids and school runs. It's now half term, because my wife's running around with mother sorting out funeral stuff and everything like that. So but all good. Looking forward to it. I mean, I've got a wicked owner. I'm very lucky. I've got a great owner. I've got a great crew. So my life is pretty damn good. So yeah, and I'm eternally grateful for that.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I will. I'll send everything over to you, and thank you so much again for your time. I really appreciate it. And apologies for the breaking down of signal.
No, it's
one of those, the joys of tech.
Hopefully, you can just delete out any little bits. No,
I will. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. There won't be like looking. So all pauses get removed and everything like that, so we don't look like we're just staring at each other trying to have a make believe conversation.
I forgot to mention, but it doesn't matter. We had a yacht recently tow 4,000 nautical miles across from Hawaii to New Zealand with our system. It's unbelievable.
Well, that's amazing. Well, this is still recording. I haven't cancelled it, so we can go into that. So, I mean, what would you say is one of your greatest success stories in terms of people using your equipment?
Probably a recent one, actually. So we had a yacht that wanted to tow 4,000 nautical miles from Hawaii to New Zealand and pass through Fiji. And they had our system. They were towing a 48-foot Viking. They wanted a little bespoke option of a prop shaft monitor, so just to detect if it was turning or not. So we added that to it, and it was successful. It was really good fun watching it through Iridium, going the journey. The chief engineer Jonathan was sending me videos, and it was just fantastic. Really,
there's no better review than that. No better review. That's amazing.
So we've used those videos in our marketing, which is great because I do all the marketing myself. And it's really good.
Wicked. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much again. And we'll catch up soon.
If your brand belongs in the heart of the yachting world, this is where it happens. Yachting International Radio reaches over 1 million yachting professionals and enthusiasts every month with 77 million impressions, 220,000 social followers, and 74,000 podcast subscribers. Our hosts are insiders, crew, captains, CEOs, trusted voices shaping the industry. This is targeted, high-impact advertising in a luxury niche. Visit yachtinginternationalradio.com/advertise. Your audience is already listening.